we have talked many times over the years about this issue. So can I just try to talk about the policy rather than the politics of the tweet and all the furore over the last several days? So before we discuss the Lineker tweet, Suella Braverman, the current Home Secretary in charge of this new policy about trying to, stop the small boats coming across the English Channel, says there are 100 million people around the world who could qualify for protection under our current laws. They are coming here. Are those numbers from Braverman exaggerated? Are 100 million people around the world trying to come here now?
This is an enormous exaggeration. According to the UN Refugee Agency, there are 100 million displaced people around the world. And actually, only around a third of them, 32 million, are refugees. And of those refugees, over 80% are in low and middle income countries. So the idea that 100 million people are potentially all aspiring to come to the UK is a gross exaggeration and a misrepresentation. In reality, last year, the UK received about 45,000 people by boat across the English Channel and received about 75,000 asylum applications. If we put that in perspective across Europe, at least 3 other countries in Europe received higher numbers of asylum applications: Germany, France, and Spain. And again, if we put that in global perspective, we can see countries around the world like Jordan, Lebanon, Turkey, Uganda, Kenya, some of the poorest societies in the world, with many multiples of the number of refugees and asylum seekers who come to the UK. So it really is an exaggeration at quite a populist and irresponsible level.
So then let's dissect the tweet on the policy aspects of it. Gary Lineker's tweet started with questioning the idea by the government that there's a massive influx into this country by the Channel or wherever. And he said something similar to what you've just said. We take far fewer refugees than other major European countries. So, you just mentioned the EU. They reported 330,000 irregular border crossings last year, well above the number you quoted, some 47,000 coming to the UK. So he's right on the policy that there is no massive influx into this country.
So I think we need a bit of balance. We need to recognise that numbers crossing the English Channel are rising. We need to recognise that the UK has received more asylum applications than at any point in the last 20 years. But we also need to get a sense of perspective, that the reasons for these numbers rising are we're in a more fractured global world. We have more people facing war, persecution, and in fragile states who need to cross borders as a last resort to access the most fundamental human rights. And most are not coming to the UK. Those coming to Europe are going to other parts of Europe. Last year, there were about 550,000 asylum applications across Europe. Nearly 5 million Ukrainians received access to temporary protection in the European Union. And the UK was very generous in offering about 160,000 places to Ukrainians through its Homes for Ukraine scheme. But 160,000 compared to that overall number of some 5 million means doing our bit is very much what we're doing, but we're not disproportionately taking large numbers of refugees.